This is the spot from where the July or the student uprising, as it has been called, began from. It's surrounded by the Dhaka University, Dhaka colleges, and over 40 million first-time and young voters will decide the fate of what is being called as a referendum for new democracy and one dictated by the reform process. But you know, as those scenes are still stark in the memory of people of Bangladesh, especially among the young, it is going to be a litmus test on whoever comes to power on whether they are going to be able to fulfill the desires and the ambitions of the large number of students and the average Bangladeshi. Because what is it that the country is crying for? It is crying for development, reform, certain amount of political instability. In that sense, this is the first big election, or the Gen Z election as it is being called. But many from the Gen Z are also talking about a possibility of yet another uprising in case the politicians don't fulfill their promise. But more importantly, Bangladesh will also have to redeem itself as far as the global image is concerned. But the memories of this spot of the uprising or the revolution, which changed things in the political landscape of Bangladesh, will not be erased in a hurry.
It's called the Gen Z elections, where 40 million first-time voters decided the fate of the nation. But it's this restless, ambitious Gen Z who pioneered this push for democracy, who are in no mood to lie low.
Both of you had taken part in that students' uprising, right? So what are you looking for now when you're looking at elections taking place? I can see a lot of campaigning happening.
Okay, first of all, we did participated in the movement in order to change the structure of our political system, to demolish the patronage political system to a more democratic one. So we are looking for that type of political system in the future, so that we can participate in the institution equally, irrespective of our gender, identity, religion, etc. So yes, that is our main objective for now.
Are you disappointed when you see a lot of comments coming in from many of the politicians, or are you hopeful that this election can bring about change in the true sense of the term for what you fought for?
Well, basically for that you have to understand what we don't want right now after fascist phase of 17 years. We don't want the fascism to come back. We don't want an autocratic system. We don't want a family to run the country. And we don't want forced disappearance. We don't want judicial killings. So after the revolution, we are very hopeful. I think we have pressed the reset button. Now we have the opportunity to choose our own leaders. But I am personally a bit hopeful and disappointed at the same time, because I see some of the leaders showing us a broader picture, a bigger vision, but at the same time a lot of leaders out there who are still thinking in an older manner. So yes, I am hopeful if the people say yes to the referendum, and if the people can choose the right leader after the 17 years of fascism dictatorship.
So have that sense of disappointment. Do you think that the students' uprising has been misused by some politicians?
Yes, it is true that whatever we have expected, everything was not as we expected. But we are progressing little by little. So I am not fully satisfied, but I am hopeful. I'm optimistic about the future of my country.
July movement, the uprising made it very clear. They gave a very clear message to the politicians that if you do the same thing again, if you try to oppress us, if you try to control us, if you try to do corruption, there will be another uprising. But it's not a threat. It's a message.
But many of the students themselves have joined political parties, one way or the other. Don't you think that is a compromise? Would you see that as a compromise? Or you see that as a message from let's fight from within but still want them?
I do not see that as compromise. Obviously, some of the leaders of student wings also took part corruptions like extortions and bribing, etc. But overall, most of the students do have faith in them. They are relatively better, not absolutely better, but relatively better. And I think opening a political party have perpetuated the progress forward, not backward. And that is why I'm hopeful.
Okay, and finally, before I let you go, the Hadi factor. Everyone talks about Hadi and a sense of disappointment that he's not alive. You think he's going to be an important factor as far as Bangladesh elections are concerned?
Who is Hadi? You have to understand that. Hadi showed us a vision that we never thought we could see. He is the type of revolutionist you see in 100 years, 200 years, 500 years. Hadi taught us that what Bangladesh could be in the coming days. Hadi taught us the term insaf means fairness, justice. And yes, Hadi will be the idol for this young generation who will not be oppressed by another oppressor, who will not be stopped by another fascist. So Hadi will be idol for
The memory of the July uprising is stark, unlikely to be forgotten in a hurry. Muhammad Yunus was brought in after the successful student movement which led to the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. The hatred for her remains. Awami League was banned, and this was an election minus the Begums.
Bangladesh's tryst with democracy throws up more questions than offering answers. Instead of providing solutions, it seems to be raising more problem areas. Because beneath this hope also lies an apprehension. Will there be a possibility of yet another student uprising? Because the students see themselves as a watchdog. A country which is reeling under economic downgrowth, crisis, and also deep radicalism is turning towards its young growing population for some semblance of order. Is that going to be coming anytime soon?
Bangladesh is at the cusp of change and reform. Huge aspirations and a task cut out. The biggest one would be to get the economy back on track. Jobs, foreign investment is the need of the hour.
One of the biggest stakeholders in the battle for democracy in Bangladesh is, of course, the Jamaat. We have representatives from the main political party, Barrister Fakhrul Islam and Jatiyo Rahman joining us. Thank you very much for speaking to us. First of all, there is this dharana, there is this feeling about Jamaat of you being not very inclusive in nature or being radical in nature. But that's not what your manifesto is talking about. What is it that you would want to tell the people of Bangladesh and outside, that what is your idea of democracy and the battle for it?
Okay. Thank you very much. Basically, this is not true, honestly. We are the most inclusive and diverse. You can see our 11-party alliance is there as a Jamaat Islami and other Islamic organization, NCP, and some freedom fighter oriented political parties there. So compared to the other political opponent, BNP is themselves here. But I think that our 11-party alliance is more inclusive, and we try to accommodate all sides of the people.
So when I spoke to the students told me that they want a Bangladesh which brings reforms and development, which is why the student uprising was all about. They have aligned with you in terms of the NCP. Are you hoping that you can win over the students and reassure the many million times, I think you told me it's around 40 million first-time voters of Bangladesh and the young people, that this is going to be a new Bangladesh which Jamaat can offer?
40 millions is a huge number of the people, young generation. You can see this is the first time they are casting vote, and last 15 years they didn't have any opportunity because of the political persecution or other issues. So in that case, yes, we are hoping then they all are supporting Jamaat Islami, and you can see that after July uprising, so all of them is supporting. This is the why the Jamaat Islami is so popular at this moment.
Are you hoping that Dhaka and Delhi become friends, dost?
Thank you very much. Of course, India is our neighbor, and you can change the house, you can change so many things, you cannot change the neighbor. So who in the whole world you can see nobody wants any hostility or any unpleasant relationship between the owners. they are our partner for so many aspects. Yes, we have some, the disagreement is maybe possible, but we have some common goals. Most of these things is the common goals. What we would invite the India not to take any relationship between the India and a particular party or any particular person.
You're talking about Sheikh Hasina.
Yeah, we are open. And we would invite, then the relationship has to be state to state, government to government, not to government to any particular person or something. This is a mistake, I would clearly say, from the Indian side.
What is grabbing the headlines internationally is the so-called attacks on the minorities, the Hindus. It would be unfortunate if that is not something which is taken care of. Would you want to say something to India and to the minorities over here?
Definitely, I want to say something. Definitely, we want to address it. The last 1.5 years, especially after the July uprising, I can clearly say so many. The example we can see. We are the people who protected the minority the most. You cannot have any blame or any sort of allegation against Jamaat Islami. More than this, they are very pleased to Jamaat Islami and Satru Shibir, saying that they have guarded our temple, they have guarded our all the holy places and their house. So how many examples you want from us? And I think this is the reason why the people is pro Jamaat Islami now.
In a nation where minorities have lived in harmony with Muslims, where economic activities complemented each other, at this Hindu-dominant area, people want stability and peace.
This is Shankari Bazar in Dhaka. It's one of the most Hindu populated areas. And you can see with the kind of artifacts which are being sold over here. Shakha Pola is a very typical Bengali kind of red and white bangle which you people must have seen. I can see it there or there in the showcase. And there are all these symbols of the community which lives over here. But not many really wanted to speak to me when I spoke to them, asking them what is it that they're asking for. As we've been pointing out, there has been around 8 to 9% of the Hindu population alone as far as Bangladesh goes. It's a community which has lived in harmony with the Muslims till recently. In the last 2 months, there have been several incidents of attack on minority. Change? Development change?
এটা তো যে সরকার আসবে সেই সরকারের মনোভাব
আর হিন্দুদের উপরে অনেক অ্যাটাক হচ্ছে আপনাদের ভয় লাগে
এটা তো হওয়ারই কথা
আগে তো হতো না
আগে হতো কম হতো বেশি হতো এটাই হয়
কিন্তু আপনারা ভোট দিতে যাবেন
হ্যাঁ অবশ্যই যাব
স্পিরিট অফ ডেমোক্রেসি ভোট দিতে যাবেন
ভোট তো দেওয়ার তো না দিতে তো অবশ্যই হবে যেহেতু নির্বাচন হচ্ছে এখন দেখা যাক তারপরে কি হয় কালকে
CNN News 18 revisits the family of one of those who were killed, brutally murdered, and this is in Narsingh, which is not too far away from Dhaka. I'm talking about Monol Chakraborty. At this point of time, all that we have seen remains is a photograph of him who was brutally killed, and the mother is still waiting for justice. And there is a fear factor in this village, which does have a large number of Hindus as well. এখনো মনটা খারাপ
সারাদিন পাগল এলাম চিকেন ঢুকে বাড়ি দৌড় বাড়ি কি করতাম
জানা গেছে কে মেরেছে
হ্যাঁ
জানা গেছে কে মেরেছে
এটা তো জানলে কি হইব এটা তো বাইরে হইতাছে না
She's saying what's the point of feeling scared? I might as well vote and let's see if things change for us. In many ways it's been a landmark election. It's an election which for the first time saw the absence of the Awami League and the missing Begums. Begum Sheikh Hasina, of course in India, her party has been banned and was not a stakeholder at all. Begum Khalida Zia, of course, is not alive, but her son Tarique Zia, as he is called, is going to carry on the legacy. For him, it's a question of his political coronation. He's tried to establish the fact that he's someone who should appeal to the Gen Z. This is also being called the Gen Z election. Someone who would be able to bring about a moderate, reform-oriented, progressive Bangladesh. Bangladesh at this point of time requires foreign investment. It also needs a certain amount of reinstatement as far as its global imaging is concerned. With reports of lawlessness, political instability, attack on the minorities coming out, there has been dwindling foreign investment in the country. That's exactly what the Gen Z is holding its netas to ransom on. But on the other hand is what is perceived to be a more radical political party, the Jamaat. The Jamaat has tried to tone down this radicalism by talking about being inclusive. But the scar on the Bangladesh's recent past has been on the many incidents of attack on minorities, which has also led to a souring of relationship with India. This, apart from the fact that Sheikh Hasina continues to remain. One of the biggest challenges would be a resumption or warming up of the good ties between India and Bangladesh. And will it bring about political stability? Will it bring about economic development and that change and that growth which the Gen Z is looking for after a student uprising of last year?
While early, celebrations were missing as Tarique Anwar made it clear that the party has to focus on fixing the country, economic and political development.
Early morning, a sense of victory. BNP has declared victory. Has Bangladesh seen a change? That's the first big question I'm going to ask you. It's been an election which has had multiple implications on it.
Yeah.
How do you see it?
Yes, it was a long desert election for the people of our country, Bangladesh. Long desert, because it's the history of 17 years, at least 17 years, where the people of this country were tortured by the fascist government of Hasina, right? So it was expected. And the day is already gone yesterday, the elected government will come. It is going to be finalized.
So what do you think should be the priority of the new government?
Priority should be the mismanagement in economics, mismanagement of the administration, mismanagement of the judiciary. This should be corrected first. And at the same time, the desire of the margin people of this country who are very poor, who earns their daily hoods from hand to mouth.
Yes.
Right. So their focus should be this portion of the people first.
What about India and Bangladesh? You think those ties need to improve now and there's hope with the BNP coming to power?
Yes, we always expect the improvement, the relation of Bangladesh and India. It's true. But how? You know the international journalist you are, you know everything. What behavior they are providing to Bangladesh and Bangladesh people, not the people, but the government-to-government relation with the Indian government.
But the people-to-people relationship.
People-to-people relation will be the better, the best way to have improved the relation of these two countries.
What do you say is the reason why the BNP has won over here? Is it because of the student support? Is it because of the women voted for them?
Feeling for this party is now was very much expected by every people. But everybody loved BNP because they have got a history of generational history. His father was president, very honest. His mother was prime minister. She was
I'm
also.
going to try. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to try and get in a young voice because the young voters have also played a very important role. Okay, what about the youth? What is it that the young people are happy about the results and about the elections in Bangladesh?
Thank you. Basically, last election, young people made the result. You have to understand.
Yes.
Because
so the elections are because of the young people.
Obviously, because you know the portion of youth is too much high in this election. So that's why I will say, I want to say, the result of this election comes from the youth. So you simply understand.
So what is it that the youth wants now that you have a new government? What would you want the new government to do?
Our expectation is to zero corruptions and no violence and continuous political process, peaceful process and good relations with our region also, with international community also. This is our expectations, and focusing all the branches of state should be high and high. No low efficiency in any departments of the state, because this continuously happened in last 17 years in Bangladesh. So we want this should not be repeat again and again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for speaking. So the first two voices we are getting from the ground about what they look at a new Bangladesh.
But the biggest issue is ties and the diplomatic balancing which Tarique would need to do. While the Jamaat would put pressure on the BNP government to lean towards China, BNP has to ensure that it stands non-aligned. India cannot be ignored. And for New Delhi, being surrounded by one's very friendly neighbour Bangladesh becomes important.
First congratulatory messages came in from our Prime Minister, and we also know that we had sent our External Affairs Minister for the janaza of Begum Khalida Zia. What next for India-Bangladesh ties? Would you want to improve the ties with India, of course?
Absolutely, why not? India and any other country in the neighbor is very important. Honorable Prime Minister played an instrumental role, gracious presence of Honorable Foreign Minister. Of course, that means a lot to the people of Bangladesh, because Begum Khalida Zia was not just a BNP leader, she became the leader of entire Bangladesh, and the gracious presence and support from India at that critical time resonates the aspiration of Bangladesh. We believe it will be reciprocal. We want to forge people-to-people connectivity. We want to ensure that the relations between the two countries thrive based on equality, fairness, and justice, and we work side by side, develop the region shoulder to shoulder on bilateral and multilateral levels.
But the growing proximity or perceived proximity of China and Pakistan to Bangladesh will always be an area of concern for India because of the terror acts, for example, Pakistan versus India. How would you balance that?
See, if we have the right intention, a commitment to ensure that it works for the stakeholders and it's mutually benefit, and it's of course done so that all the countries' interests are protected as per the sentiment of the people of Bangladesh, I think we can definitely manage that. Because whether it's enhancement of trade and business, whether it's forging people-to-people ties, whether it's ensuring regional security, of course dealing with all the terrorism-related things, I think if we talk about people's aspirations, everyone wants peace, everyone is against violence, everyone wants coexistence, everyone wants democracy. And BNP being elected with such a large mandate will ensure that we do our very best to safeguard the interest of the wider region and the global village.
And you know, there's been a lot of talk on attacks on the minorities. Do you think that's an issue which you would want to address now that you're forming the government?
Yes, absolutely. If you see, there has been significant misinformation and disinformation about treatment of minority in Bangladesh. Fact remains, when it comes to BNP, our political ideology is Bangladeshi nationalism, which means every individual, irrespective of who we are, what religion we belong to, what faith or ideology we hold, we must ensure the rights and freedoms remain the same for all Bangladeshis. Based on that, if you see after 5th August, when there is this fall of Sheikh Hasina, there is no government for a long time. The next interim government took oath on 8th August, so no government for 3 days. There is no law enforcement agency for months. That was the case. It was BNP under the leadership of Mr. Tarique Rahman who called for unity and cohesion, and all our leaders and activists were on the ground supporting and working shoulder to shoulder with minority communities, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, all together to protect and safeguard the houses, workplaces, worships, temples of every Bangladeshi. And I believe that should be the spirit of democratic Bangladesh, where BNP will and must ensure and safeguard, protect all Bangladeshis, including whatever community you talk about. We don't believe in majority minority. I have to be very frank, and I think every Bangladeshi deserves the same rights. That's the politics that our leader, Mr. Tarique Rahman, wants to convey.
India is also Bangladesh's largest trading partner in Asia. Since Hasina fled to India, both countries have imposed restrictions on each other's exports from land and sea due to ongoing tensions. This needs to change, which is why the PM sent a strong message by posting his congratulatory message to Tariq Anwar in Bangla.
Over the last few weeks, we have been getting you all the voices from across Bangladesh. Voices of fear, apprehension, but also a glimmer of hope that things will finally change. But Bangladesh has finally spoken. And with it, the Gen Z and the women also. BNP has been chosen over the Jamaat. And with this comes the issue of political development taking place, but also a political security. But there are also demands that there should be an economic upheaval which should take place. Political reforms, economic reforms, constitutional reforms are the voices which are being raised. We've tried to get you all those voices from the ground. The Hindus, the minorities, the young people of Bangladesh. And they also hope that ties with India becomes one of those things. With
Rahul Malhotra,
I'm Pallavi Ghosh in Dhaka for CNN News 18.